What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. And we are live. So today, a bit of a random reef chat. Reefing with O. How are you, buddy? It's been a little while.
I am good. How are you?
I am wonderful, thank you. Good to see you, buddy.
Been a while. Been too long.
Far too long. What's new and exciting in the reef world with you?
Man, Reef World. How much time do we have?
I don't know. How much time do you want to have?
All right, um let's do the shortened version.
All right.
New tank.
Nice.
You see it's the glass cages 150 behind me. I
It's
know
a
it's
beautiful
blurry.
blur.
But it's about what, August, September, October, November. 3.5 months old.
Nice.
And it is doing well, I have to say. And probably because I've been so busy with work, I can't mess with it.
That's
But
fair.
it's doing well. Just trying to leave it alone. My three radios. This is
It's all a
so
blur.
hilarious.
All a blur.
Hey, I am trying your thing though, where I have G5s, and I
Yep.
wasn't sure about Gen 6s, so I have a Gen 6 Pro in the middle
Mhm.
and two G5 Blues on the end. So
Best of both
and
worlds.
they are blended, like you don't see a difference. So when people ask, should I upgrade and can I upgrade? I put them on the same schedule. I put AB plus. If you look at the light, you do see that the color is different. But
Yep.
when it's in the tank, I don't see any.
I agree. If here's what I always tell people. If you're running at 50, 60%, 70%, you can make them look basically identical. If you're running them like all out 100% maximum power, then you'll be more extreme on the whiter or the bluer side. But if you're only running it halfway there, it's not a big difference. Like you can play with the ratios to make them pretty dang close to identical. Like I agree. If you look at the fixture, you could see, one's a bit bluer than the other one. But looking at the tank, it's
No
pretty
difference.
dang close. Yeah.
Nothing. I don't even notice it. But it's fine. I think that I'll eventually do an update somewhere. But the tank is nowhere close to the finished product. But it is getting there. Not
Yeah.
nowhere near yours. But for a 4-month-old tank, I was looking at it today. I am pretty darn proud of it.
That's awesome. We'll have to see it non-blurry at some point. Well, this tank is not so pretty yet. Not that you can really see it, but the other tank is looking pretty good. Like my water box, I am pretty dang happy with it. This one, I still have a bit of hair algae. I'm gonna say it's probably like 80% gone, but I still have another like 20% to like get over that hump. So slowly winning the battle.
I have a question for you. Do you find that the more you set up new tanks, all the things you've learned, does it make the startup process easier?
Yes. And
Yeah.
I'm less rushed. Now, I think having more than one tank also helps, right? Like if I only had one tank, I'd probably be a lot more rushed. Because I have two tanks, I'm like, yeah, I'll take the slow road. I'll do this. It's not as like a big deal. So
Yeah. I think one of the major changes for me in reefing was like going to Reefapalooza, I think California 17, 18. I don't
mhm.
remember when, and talking to people from Greg's Club, and these were folks that had kept reef tanks for years.
Mhm.
And, seeing their reaction to things, it's like, hey, that's broken, and I'll just take care of it. Not that it was, if someone's lights weren't working, of course
Yeah.
you'd fix it, but to things where I think I would have thought it was the end of my tank, I would have like probably, like screwed something up, like, those days when one coral wasn't doing well and you'd readjust the lights and piss everything off because one wasn't doing well instead of probably moving that one. I
Yeah.
think that was a shift in philosophy, not philosophy, but shift in patience for me. But you're right. Put it there. Not that this went perfect, by the way, because I overstocked with fish too fast, and they all died, which was not fun. But I got two biota yellow tangs.
Mhm.
Actually, just got him out of quarantine. I finished my 6 or 7 week fallow and my quarantine. Got him on sale at Petco for $100, but that's a whole other
Nice.
story, I'll tell you. But put my yellow tangs in, and that's all I have so far.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. Doing pretty good then. I did get a haircut. Thank you, Ricky. Okay, so in the chat, okay, farm frags. Do you use a calcium reactor? What do you love about it? You used to use one. Are you still?
I'm not at the point where I'm using it yet. So everything is going to be in stages. So I'm starting with Kalkwasser.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to move to probably Triton 2-part. And then I'm going to go to a calcium reactor. So I have one. I have two, actually. I have a Reef octopus and I have a Vertex. Really love my Vertex, the
Nice.
potential of my Vertex. But
I used to
yeah,
have
I
the
use one.
Vertex.
Don't have it
Nice.
yet. Not using it yet.
I do have one. I used to have the Vertex, and then I got a bigger one. So I have the Geo 818 now. So a big beast, which I actually just topped off the media on it like a week ago. And I was asking why I love it. I love it because it's cheap to run. It sucks to buy up front, but once you have it, it's super cheap to run it. It's been a year or two, and it literally added like half a bag of media to it, and maybe one CO2 tank. Like, it's cheap. I was also asking if I have a backup CO2 tank or anything for it. I do, ironically. I have like a little kegerator fridge, which has little 5-pound tanks with two of those. So I always have one spare 5-pound, which could be for the tank if needed, or it could be for the fridge. So done.
Is it because I'm in New York City, so a CO2 tank is really easy to get.
Yeah.
So, of course, if I know I'm running low and I'm going on a trip, I'll double check it. But for the most part, I think I can go a day or two without, probably hand dosing.
I would lose a lot hand dosing. I think I was losing a DKH a day or just shy. Maybe it was like 0.7. It was quite a bit, but it was it would be good going down really fast without it. I do have calc. I do have a doser, so I mean I could just triple my dosing if I had to, if I did run out. But I do have an extra 5-pounder to a 10-pound on the tank, and then there's a spare 5-pounder if I ever need it for kind of backup.
Yeah, if I think I'm at that point where I'm doing a DKH a day, I'll probably think about that. I've never gotten to that point yet, but yeah.
Hey, Farm Frags had a burst disc go out and purge all my CO2. That sucks. Do I clean it out if required? I mean, if there's a bunch of tiny particles in the bottom. But honestly, with the two little fishies reborn and stuff, it hasn't really been messy or had to do it. So I haven't cleaned it in ages. I remember cleaning my Vertex one more than this one. I think I've cleaned it maybe once in the last 2 years. So
now that we're talking calcium reactors, I have this question because I've always heard this mythical your media turning to mush. What is that?
That's if you have, you drop your pH in the calcium reactor super low and it melts it too fast.
Has that ever happened to you?
No. But in theory, that's what will cause it.
Have you ever seen anyone who that's happened to?
I've only heard stories and myths.
All right. Because I think the Vertex and the Reef Octopus units, they have really strong circulation pumps.
Yep.
I think the one you had custom made, I think you ended up putting a Vector on it or something to that effect, which is
First
a super
S2.
strong pump. Yes. So I think from what I've seen with my friends who using other brand calcium reactors, I think when you have a strong circulation pump, it actually reduces the feedings to some extent. Do you think that's part of it? Cleanings, reduce feedings, because like it just gets circulated, water gets circulated, and you don't end up with those little particlets. It flushes the media well.
It might be actually like if you have media like impurities or like rocks and stuff in there that doesn't fully dissolve, then I could see those little tiny particles building up over time. But yeah, you're right though. It could just be the strong flow and it just breaks it down enough that it's not an issue. But yeah, on mine, like I remember in the past, a couple times I cleaned it and there'd be a lot more mush, but this time I just topped it off because I didn't feel it needed to be cleaned. Like you look at the bottom, there's barely anything in it. So
that was, I don't know enough about calcium reactors, but I think that's my theory is from the ones I see, you'll have a big 8-inch. So the Vertex has a CJ, what is it, 1.0?
I believe so.
Yes, and it's a what is it, a 6-inch? Diameter, 6 or something to that effect, and it has a 1.0. And I've also seen like 8 or 10-inch calcium reactors with the same pump. Yep. So obviously the 6-inch you're getting so much flow, and then the Vector, I don't know what size Vector you have, but the Vector you have, I don't care if you have a 12-inch, but a Vector on a calcium reactor,
it's turned way down.
Yeah, but you're getting so much flow. Like a
Yep.
vector at 10% at one dial is still a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think that has something to do with it.
I think so. Okay, question from earlier for I forget about it. Neptune Sky, how do you like it? I think you have one on your small tank, don't you?
Yeah, I ooh, that's a mixed bag. I I like it. Overall, my feelings about it are positive. I think the
Yep.
setup was easy. I still have questions. Like I've been running it for man, it's been a year. I got it in Chicago last year, so Chicago Reefapalooza, which was the summer. So which was the fall. So I've been running it a year now with no issues. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess,
It's a good chunk.
yeah, I think it. The only thing about it is the feel a little not like it's gonna hold up. It's held up for a year.
Yeah.
And from what I see, it's, with regular cleanings, it feel like, but it just has this, like when you're holding it, like the screen moves.
No, it
So it has a
bounces
feel,
inside.
yeah, it has a feel of not, there's no shimmer, which I don't like, but it's fine for the tank it's
Yeah.
on. But it just doesn't feel strong. But that could be my feeling.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I don't think it gives as much spread as, Radeon just because it's bigger. And I
Yeah.
think I've seen the PAR test that says that. So I think it's a good light. I think it's a good, worthy competitor. Do I put it in a Radion's class? Nope. But I put it a slight tier below that. Like if a Radion is a 1A, this is a 1B. Or if the Radion is a 1, this is a 1A or a 1B.
Okay, that's fair. So I borrowed one for a week and played with it. I will say I liked it more than I thought I would like it. I did feel slightly like restricted to not having all my channel controls and only being limited to the 4 channels, whatever it was. But the blending you could do with it looked pretty good. So I liked it more than I thought I would. I would still pick a Radeon over a Sky personally for the not big of a price difference. I think given the price range, I'd definitely pick a Radeon. If it was cheaper, I mean, that would be a bigger justification. So, but I did like it more than I expected I would. So,
Which is so the challenge thing. I didn't. I've actually moved away from. I've actually moved away from like the individual channel controls because even when
yeah.
I started using the Gen 5, I didn't like the cyan, but I didn't mess with it. I'm like, I'm just gonna run as is.
Mm-hmm.
So this just so it didn't affect me because I just chose a preset template and just ran with it. But for Neptune to be the control freak company and then not offer you full control over what you're doing, it's
I
a little
agree.
bit weird. That was a
I
little bit weird.
Yep, I agree. Okay, this one I'm gonna get to just because I'm actually dealing with it. Clarky's Reef. How do you deal with green hair algae? I have a lot. Okay, so a few different options. One will do a bit of manual removal because if there's any clumps, just pull it out. I will do that. I did add a couple of tuxedo urchins, which do wonders, and they put a massive dent in it. And I'm also trying to do this right now. I'm only a few days into it, so I'll let you know in like a week or two. But I'm trying the Microbacter Clean and Razor blend. I'm on like day 5 or something, so I'm trying that combo, and to see if that will like finish it off. Because the tuxedo urchins and a bit of manual removal, it's about 80% gone now, and I had a ton of it, so it's about 20% ish. I'm going to say left. So I'm seeing if that will finish off the bits of bases and lingering stuff in there.
So everything you just mentioned, I'm thumbs upping twice because I've done
Okay.
that before. I've done razor, I've done urchins. The one thing I'm gonna say is, um, I've never seen someone get like high nutrients might be the cause of green hair algae. I've never
Mm-hmm.
seen someone get rid of green hair algae by lowering nutrients only. Like you
Yeah.
have to get it out of the tank. Like I have helped friends with green hair algae problems where we've gone over there with a toothbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Like be prepared to have a bunch of filter socks and change them, but you have to get it out. You
Yeah.
need to get it out of the system. So I've turned up the flow and gone in there where we've spent an entire day with toothbrushes or like a brush, just brushing the rocks as long as you don't have a lot of
Yeah.
coral. But I've never seen, I just wanted to make that, I've never seen someone get rid of green hair algae by
Yep.
just lowering nutrients only. So it's good that, like adding
Mm-hmm.
something that eats it but adding the things that eats it in the urchin is also going to help prevent the next algae upgrade, because
Yeah.
chances are it'll never get that bad if you have urchin. Like you could have a nutrient problem and
Yeah.
could really. I realize this totally by accident. This is not
Hmm.
any me dropping knowledge, but I've always liked tangs. I've always liked a lot of snails. I think it's prevented me from seeing a lot of issues in the past. Love of foxface, love
Yeah.
tangs.
Hmm.
So, I have high nutrients, high phosphates, 1.1 or 1, not point anything, 1.0 phosphates, but because you have a bunch of tangs eating it, you never see any issues from it.
It's true. Like in my big tank, like I would never know. I have like 5, 6 tanks in there. Like if maybe there's algae, I'd never see it.
Hmm.
So yeah, so turbo snails can work well. Urchins can work well. The hammer approach is using fluconazole. I have done that in the past at like a 2 or 3 times dose, and it obliterated the hair algae. Now that being said, I did have some weird issues afterwards. Like I believe at some point I don't know if it's like dinos or chrysophytes. I had some weird other stuff going on in the tank, and I question if the hammer approach like just messed with the stability that much that I had the other stuff. So I don't know. It's hard to say 100%, but fluconazole is what I would consider like the sledgehammer approach to it at a 2 or 3 times dose.
Have you ever seen hair algae in a well-established, grown-out reef tank? I
No.
can't remember a reef tank that's grown out. So I
Mm-hmm.
think there's something to the hammer approach where you kill everything and then you sort of go into that new tank phase again where you're leaving everything to compete for that space again.
Yeah.
So dinoflagellates and whatever else, chrysophytes, maybe
Mm-hmm.
diatoms. So I think that's what the hammer approach does.
Yeah.
But if you have I've never seen an established tank because that probably has coralline algae,
Yeah.
probably has all this stuff that's taking care of it. Port Wolf said he has. So
Yeah.
wow, I've never seen it, but hey, Port Wolf, if you're on Instagram, please post or send me a link somewhere. I would love to see a picture of
Mm-hmm.
a well-established tank with um with uh with a
Bunch of
hair algae
algae.
issue.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it mainly is newer tanks, and this is still relatively a newer tank because I basically stripped it down and redid it from scratch. So it's still a new tank. Still going through the uglies, the funs. Basically, I'm actually through the uglies. It's just the hair algae that's lingering to get rid of. But eventually, it'll be back to a happy place.
I saw a picture from Bert, photo, not photo, a question from Bert Minshew earlier where he's asking me what I have in a new tank. Can I take a minute to answer that?
Go for it.
So I am doing mostly SPS this time, which I think is going to be my first SPS dominated tank. So
Mm-hmm.
I do have, some Goniopora, some Euphilia. I did get my hands on like a good deal on a nice colony of Space Invader and some
Yeah.
chalices, but it's going to be SPS dominated. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Long Island Reef Association frag swap,
Mm-hmm.
and I got man, guys there, Tussie and some of the guys on the East Coast really hooked me up. So um,
Nice.
I don't think I will be buying any coral anytime soon unless it's a really nice piece. So I am stocked for now. I just need to wait for the stuff to grow.
Well, it sounds pretty good. So you do have a bunch of stuff hiding in the tank.
Yeah, it's just and with the old Red Sea Reefer, the first time I had success with SPS, what I didn't realize is, in the past, I stuck stuff so close together and then most of it died. So it ended up when it grew. But last time I put stuff so close together and then when it actually started growing, it took less than a year for everything to start fighting each other. So,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize a red planet needed to grow such a big base before it started growing up. So it started killing things. So I've learned that lesson, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. But even then, I learned from West Coast when I was in California. Glue stuff to rocks,
Mm-hmm.
then put it in. So if you need to move stuff, at least it's glued to a little piece of rock. I
Yeah.
do have some stuff that's on tiles, which looks ugly, but until I am ready for the ultra permanent home,
Yeah.
stuff is glued and puttied to a piece of rock, and then or a cut off flag plug. So if I ever need to move it later, it's not glued to the rock itself.
Yeah, that is a good way to do it. And when I was my early days of reefing, that was the one of the big mistakes that I did was putting everything too close together, right? You don't consider the grow space. And Red Planet, as ironically, I think the coral that's on the thumbnail, the proper thumbnail when I fix it. But yeah, so it definitely same thing. It took ages to base out before you start to see the nubbins start to grow up.
Yeah, that thing grew such thing grew, and Greg's here, but man, Greg warned me about that thing, but it was, like it was growing. It was one of the SPS that were growing, so I was proud of it. But man, that thing, once it started growing, it grew well, but man, that thing needed to put out a huge wide base before
Mm-hmm.
it started doing anything.
Yeah, it's funny how some do that. It's just like that. Red Planet was actually is like a nemesis girl for me. Like I literally think I've bought that frag 5 times over the last like 7, 8 years, and it's like finally growing. It's just one of those corals that just would never take off for me. I don't know why. It was my nemesis. So I'm so happy the one now is finally growing.
Mine is the
Years.
green slimer. As
Really?
easy as it sounds, I cannot get that thing to grow, Dev. So I picked up two pieces, the frag swap. I put
Mm-hmm.
one on high,
Yeah.
and I put one lower somewhere. So I don't know, man. I love that thing when I see it. I went to Ali's shop in California, and he had like a tank that had the red planet just growing like a field of staghorns. And
Mm-hmm.
but I cannot grow out a half decent colony of green slimer. So hopefully this is it.
Hopefully you're finally there.
I'm there. I'm
Yep.
there. I can finally get into the you know compete with Greg Carroll.
I know. Good old Greg. Um, have you ever used Aquaforest salt?
Have
Nope.
not used any Aquaforest products at all. I think that's the one line I've never used anything Aquaforest.
Yeah. I I have it. It mixes clean. I like it. I think it's a good salt. I've used their sand and I've used some of like the bacteria media and like I think it's called Life Biosource. It's kind of like their miracle mud type of dealio of like the live bacteria you put in there. I've used those. Those work well.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Never used it. Never used it. Um, Gonna try eventually. Not now. You know what? I am going to redo my kids' tank soon, so maybe that's the time to try something Aquaforest.
There you go. Let us know in a few months how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Da-da-da. What else we got? What else have I skipped for questions? Diamond
Oh,
Reef, thank you for the super chat, by the way. Much
thank you,
appreciated.
thank you. I know this is like therapy for me, Deb. This is like
It is.
um,
It's been far too long.
first time in my reef. So I'm someone who's always battled high nutrients, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow this tank I'm having to dose nitrates.
Isn't it
And I
weird?
just ordered. It's yeah. And my last tank, I had a filter roller. I don't think I'm doing anything different. I think probably because I started. So my previous tank, I started with sand. I started with things, and then I took the sand out. This I started with um, no sand, bare bottom tank, no sand, and a filter roller. I'm using on a 150. I have the little Clarice, which I'm changing the filter roll way too often. I
Big
need
one,
to
buddy.
upgrade
Big
it.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
should have
sold my
still made that
3,000,
mistake.
just the 5,000s now.
I remember when see, this is where you live and you learn. I remember when we had the conversation when I was buying it for the years ago, and I remember you said, "Dude, you should have just gotten to 5,000, and you probably would have had like one less reactor in your sump." But I think the 5,000, like years later, I'm still growing to regret that decision of not getting the 5,000.
Happens eventually.
Yeah, but I've never battled low nutrients before, and it's just I think this is where this tank is going to be, but it's just a weird new thing for me.
I agree. My water box, definitely not low nutrients. This one is pretty dang low. And now that possible, like a false kind of reading because of the hair algae, it could very well just be sucking it up. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, same thing. I actually dosed a bunch of new nitro probably a couple days ago because I'm testing. And my nitrate was like next to nothing. I was like, oh, that's too low. So I just like put in a few glugs in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I need to connect with Cat because I started with the 1 liter bottle and now I'm up to the 2 liter bottle. So now I don't know if they sell the thing by the gallon, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna need, I'm gonna have to put it on a doser.
Now, I always struggle with this. Like, part of me just says feed more, add more fish, like naturally add it versus dosing it. But I mean, it's a trade off. I guess it's pure directly what you need. So,
So talking about therapy, so listening to some of Jake Adams's episodes of Reef Therapy, he said, yeah, you could feed more, but
yeah.
he saw a big difference when he just added the nitrates at the end. Like his corals, like if they look pale, they colored up within a day or two, started to color up within a day or two,
Yeah.
of him adding. So yeah, I think feeding more, you're right. I also have
Mm-hmm.
aptasia, so I just think I'm breeding some nudibranchs, and until they get to the point where I can put them in the tank and, having them start, I think I want to be careful about adding any more fuel for the aptasia.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, okay, I see your logic on that one. That makes sense. If you have aptasia and other pests that are just stealing the food and
Yeah.
going out of control.
With no fish yet,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to add something. Yeah, Reef Keeper said Brightwell has super strength neochitro.
Yeah, they have
Ooh.
like a industrial, basically more concentrated version. So you could get that and just dose less. The thought. Or get the normal one and dose more. Take your pick. You got options. Look at that.
Why would no? I want to dose more because then I'm up to I have to get the 2 liter jugs now. Like, why wouldn't I want to get?
It's
You
good to
know,
have options. Well, I guess it depends how much you're dosing, right? So,
yeah.
does anyone have info on tiger tail cucumbers? I've never had a cucumber, but I know they are algae eating machines. So, my buddy who owns an LFS store, he'll like lend them out to like people tank issues. So, I mean, they definitely do work well.
Have you ever had an abalone?
Well, Jake's bazillion streams on it has sold me on the fact that it'd be cool to try one, but I've never seen one for sale locally. So, I have
So
not.
Unique Corals and Manhattan Aquariums and the aquarium, two affiliates, two stores co-owned by Joe Caparetta have abalones here. So they're relatively easy to get here. If you're in New York City, you can go to Manhattan Aquariums or the aquarium shop in Long Island to get abalone. So I have one. So he's cool looking, and they eat a lot of algae.
Mm-hmm.
I tried two, and one died. So obviously, I don't have enough algae for two.
Yep.
But man, you cannot get. They're cool looking. My wife thinks it's ugly because it's a slug, but you can't get that thing off the glass. Like you have to put a credit card under his feet. But man, they are. You just see them out at night, just eating all over the glass. They're cool looking animals.
Yeah. It's kind of funky. If I see one, I know J&L Aquatics, which is in Vancouver. It's a couple hours away from me. But next time I go there, if they have some, I might buy one just for fun to try it.
Very
Kind of
cool animal. Since I can't have those, since I don't have sand and I can't have those crazy, funny, interesting critters in the sand,
Yeah.
I think an abalone kind of
It'd be fun.
satisfies my need for.
Oh, so you went no sand, eh? You went the bare bottom route.
Yeah, I think it's easier to clean to maintain.
Fair.
I think it's easier to add sand than to take it out later if you decide. And adding some power heads, like I have two MP60s
Mm-hmm.
and then two MP40s sweeping the back. So if I'm siphoning anything out, it settles in one spot, so I don't have to put the hose there. I don't know, man. I like it. I don't like. I don't like when a tank is new and it's bare bottom. But if you put some chalices or something to encrust on the bottom, it can look cool.
Yeah.
I miss sand though, but would I go back now?
Yeah, really, eh? Interesting.
It's just, I think it's easier to maintain. And one thing I've heard is, and again, I don't know, I heard this from Jake Adams, is he thinks you get less diseases. Like if there's ick, there's nothing, no substrate for it to settle into and get swept up and pulled out by your filtration. So there's less of a chance of you having an outbreak because there's nowhere for the Tromont or whatever that's called to settle.
The Tromont.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I pick up. I see. agree with his logic on that one. Because, there's no dormancy period for it. It would just be suspended. But, I don't know. Sand just looks better. I just like it.
It does. I can't argue with you. Dude, there's nothing better. As someone who's from the Caribbean, Jamaica, there's nothing better than a Kessel or something with really good shimmering off a really clear white spot of sand.
Yeah.
That is nothing. There's nothing better to me that reminds me of home than that. So nothing will beat that for me. That is the best. Fair. Like white sand with Kessel lights, like the crazy shimmer. It'll give me a headache. Lines. Give me a headache after a while, but I don't miss it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I miss it, but not enough to put it back.
Fair enough. All right. Well, one day we'll see. Just get yourself a little desktop tank with some sand in it, just for your reflections, and you'll be happy. Be your happy tank.
Well, I will say, when I'm going to redo my kids' tank, so my kids' tank, I am going to put not sand, but I am going to put maybe crushed coral or something there, because that's where I'm going to get my fix. When I redo my kids' lagoon, I am going to put a substrate. Maybe I bought a lot of the little reborn that I didn't like, and that's going to be mostly a mushroom tank.
That'd be good.
So
sound.
Right now, my kids' tank have like a bunch of mushrooms encrusted on the bare bottom that's hard to get off. So I think that's sort of my way in the future. If I want to trade mushrooms, there is some kind of substrate that they're attached to.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's going to be that little reborn. That's what I'm going to use.
Yeah, I think that's actually a perfect substrate. You'll probably get some bonus buffering out of it. Aussie Dan, any experience with the Reef Factory flare light? Saw them in a store. They looked incredible. I do not. They actually wanted to send me some, but I didn't have anywhere to use it and test it, so I decided to do the cage keeper instead. Not that I need another elk tester, but stable elk is your friend.
So you have a cage. You're getting a cage keeper.
Little green light right there. That's the cage keeper plus.
Yeah, Paul, Reef Aquarium, Reef Community Worldwide. He's been running one for a while now. He had the bigger unit. No, because they've been out in the UK for a while.
Yeah, they
have. They had the bigger unit, and then they got the compact unit. What I love is that thing is that now.
Tiny.
I know how big you and I are. Like I've seen you, I've met you a few times. Like, can you demonstrate just how big or small it is?
It is that tall.
Really? Wow.
It's pretty tiny. Like there's a video I'm holding in my hand.
And you have the plus.
They have a smaller version.
The smaller one, yes. It is so tiny. It just, dude, I think that one to put in a nano, not me. Hey, listen, man, no matter what I try, I'm me. And there's always going to be some gear. I've went down that road. It doesn't work for me. So too bad. I'm giving up that dream. Remember when I tried to go no technology in a tank? Not working for me. Yeah. But you could probably fit that in a nice area on a nano and not have it be,
Everyone's telling me to give you shit because I just did a video on the cage keeper. Like, I'm pretty sure it was Monday's video.
Today is what? Wednesday?
Yeah, a few days ago. Slacking, man. Slacking.
All right.
You don't have to watch it now. But,
all right.
But you can see how big it is in there because I'm held it up. But anyways, it is super tiny, and I didn't even know they had a tinier version until I was reading comments on the video, and I looked on their site, and there's mini version of it. I was like, holy smokes. So it's super tiny. So wow. I think I appreciate how tiny it is, and it's quiet. That's two big pluses for it.
All right.
No.
All right.
There you go. Watch that later. Not now. Later.
I am going to watch it later. Let me cue it up now.
All right. Sounds good. So no, it's pretty cool. But yeah, no, they did ask if I wanted the lights, and I'm like, I don't have anywhere to test it. But I'm happy to test this if you wanted, so I did.
How big are the lights? Are they a nano light? How?
I don't know. I didn't fully see them. I'm out of tanks and out of space. I'll watch the video later. Thanks, so. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Mighty kind. Yeah. Also into seeing one from the Comore. Yeah, the Comore one looks interesting too. There is so many companies coming with auto testers now. It's crazy, which I love. I think it's awesome. The more options, the better. The more, probably going to get cheaper because there's more competition. Like there's lots of good things that come out of this, and people with happier, stable tanks are going to be more successful, which is better for every coral, better for everybody. Oh, thanks for the super chat, buddy.
You're welcome. I like the, you know, the coral view. I like even what. So I was really, really, really shocked by the announcement of the coral view. I know it's not an alg tester, but I know their new controller. They're just making a vessel for you to test alkalinity in, which is cool. But the fact that Comore, they have a couple of partners. One I've been severely disappointed in. Yeah, not the Alcatronic, but the fact that the price of that, if you have their controller, just what is it, less than $100, you can add alkalinity testing. Like, you're right. Yeah, that is.
Speaking of Comore, they kept using me in all their advertisements.
I saw that.
And then I messaged them about it. No, nothing. I messaged them about it. I'm like, so you could have at least asked for something. And they're like, oh, we'll remove you. And then it was gone. And then I see like a new dosing pump comes out. I'm back in the ads again. I'm like, oh, let me talk to marketing. Gone. I was in like Amazon, AliExpress. I'm like,
did you at least get one? Are you on the list?
No, they just cropped the picture smaller, so I'm not in it. Like, you buggers. No, I got nothing. Like, I'm like, I've never even used the product. Like, it looks like I'm endorsing it. I've never even tried it. It's like, anyways. So that happened a while ago.
So I use auto testing, but I still have my HANA checker thingy where I still test my.
How often do you do that?
Once for alkalinity, probably 2 times a month.
Okay.
And for calcium, probably once a month.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
The fact that my nitrate and stuff is low, I probably test more than once a month. But yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I don't. Another thing that I do. So I am running. Hydros is my controller, but I do have a Trident that I'm running.
Wait.
One thing I've learned.
You must have an Apex to have a Trident. So explain the situation.
So on my main tank, I'm using Hydros. But my kids' tank in the bedroom has Apex. And back when I was using the Apex, there's still a long cable hidden inside the wall. So I just, ran that cable through the apartment, in the walls in the apartment to run. So my kids' tank in their bedroom has an Apex. And then I have a long, put 2 of those extension cords together. What is it? 30, 40 feet of cables where I run the Trident. So, yes.
That's a good chunk hidden throughout the house.
Yeah. Well, if the Trident tests, like right now, I think the calcium. So I've noticed that when the reagent gets low, you get the testing gets weird. So my calcium now, it went from last week where it was 440 to now it's saying it's like 509 or 510.
Oh, really?
In the past,
yeah,
I would have freaked out about it, but I'm not dosing enough calcium where my thing goes up 50, 60.
Yeah, I find when there's about 8 tests left, then it starts to get a little wonky, the last little bit. Have you, just out of curiosity, have you ever tried using the older reagents? Does this still work? Does it go funky? I legitly, every time I do it, I have a bottle of each that are almost full for just dumping the extra stuff.
I've never done it, but I've thought of it. What do you think?
I haven't tried it. I'm curious. I think the alkalinity one might, I don't know why, but I feel that one might be less stable, but I bet the other ones would be probably fine. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I'm just curious if anyone else has.
You know what I'm going to do? What I'm going to do then is start saving. So I'm not going to pour an old one into the new one. The next time I get a 6-month, I'm going to start saving everything in the last one.
Yeah.
And then do it.
Well, that's basically what it is. I'm like, okay, if I ever run out and I need some, this is the backup one. Even if it's a bit off, I'm sure it still reads. Yeah, okay. Mike in the comments said perfectly. Consistency is more important than accuracy. So, exactly.
Yeah, I see. Man, when the Trident first came out, this is something that I was absolutely used to go mad. at or get a little annoyed at like Neptune to because they were always comparing it and this is people too like checking it against the Hannah. Well, it's off from the Hannah. It's you're never gonna I think the last time I was on your stream, like I had an epiphany and I realized that my Hannah checker things aren't even 10 mils in the bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I gonna bother with it? Like, it's a machine that's supposedly squirting the same reagent every time,
Yeah.
unless something went off with the. So of course, not that I trust it more, but it's testing the same methodology. So I know
Mm-hmm.
my Hannah is a DKH off plus. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Like it's my Alcatronic and my Trident are like 0.2 off. I'm like, I don't care as long as they're consistently 0.2 off, and then I just look at the trends.
Yeah, I'm more looking at trend. And then again, for my calcium to go from baseline 450 to then all of a sudden it's like I I I'm doing Kalkwasser. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna do more calcium than alkalinity in that different proportion with Kalkwasser. So I know
Mm-hmm.
that it's coming to the end of the reagent and that's a testing anomaly.
Yeah. Okay. Have you used Jabo DC return pumps? Was thinking about getting one to feed my UV. I have for many years, and I've had good experience with Jabo. I've had questionable experience with the power heads. They've been hit or miss, but the return pumps have always been solid for me. I think I
Yeah.
had one die after many, many years, but they've been overall. I'd say they're pretty good for good value.
Yeah, they're worth it. I think if I yeah, I don't see anything wrong with them if I was on a budget and I needed to get but yeah, I think the Vectra and the pumps I go with.
I'm on the Vector
Every time,
train now, but it's because it was quieter than Jabo, and that's what converted me initially. Is that the Jabo was quiet, but there was this very faint, high pitched like sound, and it always drove me nuts. And the Vector didn't do it, and then I converted all to that just because I'm OCD about silent as possible. Anyway,
I
sorry to
know
cut you
you are.
off. I know.
No. For me, it is. You have this thing about. So when I look back at previous my time for me, my time. I'm in New York. Ecotech is in Pennsylvania. They are a day away. So I know if something happens with a light, with a pump, um, they're a day away from offering support or getting support. So you ship it to them. So if I have an issue, I can
Mm-hmm.
send it out on a Monday. They get it on the Tuesday, and theoretically they fix it the Tuesday or the Wednesday, and I get it back on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they're there, and I don't have to deal with certain things because to me my time is valuable, and having the support behind it. That's the reason why this is sitting here and is not on a tank because
Mm.
I've had like
Is
to
that
get
is that a
yeah
fancy
yeah
whatever it is for a dragon or something?
yeah
Yeah.
yeah because I think these are probably better pumps than the Vectras, but if I'm gonna have an issue with this and then it's gonna take me 3 months to get in touch with someone to help me, and then there's like a discrepancy in what someone on the Facebook group or when I email Royal Exclusive, I can't deal with that.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So
Casual
the
reef keeping.
support for me,
Yeah, casual reef keeping. Ecotech AI services the bomb got a light repair within that week timeline. Yeah, that's the couple times I've had contact them, they've been like phenomenal. So it's been good.
Neptune's, I have to say, man, last year, I
Have
think
they
that was a
stepped it
bone
up?
of, yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was a bone of contention with me, where almost to the point where, sometimes I would feel nickel and dime sometimes with Neptune, but man, in the last year or two, psh,
Mm-hmm. It's been good.
top notch, top notch, top notch. I feel like everything you sent in at some point was water damage. You would hear that water damage, but
You make aquarium products.
yes,
Yeah.
but I yeah no my I got one of those tape sensors. I wanted to test one of those tape sensors,
Yeah.
dude. Like
What do you think?
I
Do
was
you like it?
yeah. The first one I got didn't work, which really pissed me off.
Really?
And then the support was like so on point. Like someone called me, walked me through it. They sent me one and then sent me the box to send the old one back, which is man, that's I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I've ever seen that before. So wait, is yeah, something's
Mm,
happening here.
yeah. Timeout.
Ah, here you go. All right.
Someone's in the timeout corner.
Um,
Tape
but yes,
sensors.
so it was good. I like it. I have a 15-inch one. I put in my ATO. I don't like so when I calibrated it, I followed the instruction of calibrating it like 2 inches above or below.
Hmm.
But I think it's been running for a month plus now, where I think I'm going to calibrate it closer to the edges.
Do you know
But it's
what's
working. And
funny? I never bother even calibrating mine. Like I don't even care what it is. All I care is what's normal and what's the high and the low range to like
yeah,
trigger
I
stuff.
I just want to know when my ATO is low,
Yeah.
and for that, it's been working
Yeah.
perfect.
Perfect. I like it. Greg, Jabo has become very reliable after feedback from tens of thousands of beta testers. Fair point, fair point. Casual reef keeping. Speaking of Neptune, since we're allowed to discuss it, how excited are you for the MXM? I'm excited. I'm definitely excited
Are
for
you?
it. Yeah. I
So I'm
like to. I already have some plans. Because, like, when I do a live stream, like, for instance, not that it matters, but it's less steps. This is like just lazy briefing. But I'd open Mobius and like right now I'm just having normal cameras. I don't care. But when I do the green screening, you can see how there's like blue on the wall, right? So I have like a scene that will make my lights whiter so it doesn't mess with the green screen, right? So I'm going to have like, I'm going to build a little button panel and have like a button for live stream that will, maybe turns off the skimmer. Maybe it turns the lights away. Like I'm just going to like stuff like that. Do I need it? No. Is it nice? Yes. So
for you, it'll work. I don't mess with my stuff that often anymore. I do find that in Mobius, man, every time I see these guys every time my Mobius slows down because I put so many devices through it, every time I see these guys at a Reefapalooza, and I need to write this down, they do something, they're like, hey, yeah, do this. And then it works like a charm. But I keep forgetting. I don't know if they refresh. I don't know. I need to write down whatever they do. But it doesn't bother me as much because I don't mess with my lights or pumps or flow that often anymore. That's
yeah.
one of the things I stopped messing with. So I'm actually not in Mobius that often.
All right. So here's the dealio. I sometimes Mobius will be like, oh, it didn't respond or something, right? Which is annoying. I agree. It's gotten better than it was. So I know they're definitely working on it. And I don't know what that is. You're in timeout too. So basically with there, because the only thing I really mess with other than running seams is doing the blah, 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 like messing with like the Versas and the pumps. So when that happens, generally, like if it will pop up, it doesn't respond. Usually I just hit reload and I do that once or twice and then it works. It's weird. Or your power cycle works. So anyway, so there's certain things. Now I know the Versas aren't, I don't believe they're going to work with the MXM module right away, but it'd be cool if they did eventually. Because I do certain things right now. Like I haven't used my ATO in like a year. Like I just use calc now to replace my ATO, and however much I evaporate is how much I drip through my calc reactor. Now which works really well, but I have ideas in my head which would be cool, like put a tape sensor in there, and if it could adjust my Versa flow rate based on the level of the sump to basically keep it dead stable, like that'd be really cool. Like I have lots of cool ideas that I hope will come eventually from the MXM. So those are my thoughts.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Greg.
That is next level.
I know. So I have lots of really cool idea. I know. So there's potential.
Yeah,
so I think it will be fun. The other thing I like is like sometimes if we're watching a movie or something, I'll dim the tank lights down to blue. Like I have a schedule for that, which I can do through Mobius. But it's be nice to have a couple little quick buttons so the wife could walk up and push a button and then maybe it dims it to like movie mode if we're using the projector or something, right? Like stuff like that. So that's my thoughts.
I think I would like a photo mode. I think like a photo mode for like 30 minutes or something. Yeah, that is cool.
Now, the other option is you just get a camera that can compensate for the blues.
That's the other option.
So, like this guy, the Olympus TG4, love this camera, but you can set the white balance by taking a photo of something white. So I have two different color modes for like when it's more blue and less blue, and you just take a picture of like a frag plug or something white, until to set the white balance, and then it's like pretty dang good. And I just
What
literally
is that?
just pick one of the two.
What is
TG.
that? An Olympus TG4?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
the waterproof camera.
yeah, it's older. It's like 5 or 6 now, so it's a great camera for aquariums. You just dunk it in, take a photo.
And you're using the 4.
Yeah, I think I have the 5 or 6 as well, but I like the 4 the best for some reason, even though the resolution's not as good. But
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not that expensive. They are $329 now.
exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's worth it.
All right.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
check it out. I just added it to my watch later, Jeff.
No, exactly. So it's good. So I definitely recommend that one. That's a lot of my good photos. I'll use that one for because it's more of like a macro, wicked macro shot. So definitely recommended. Yeah, Alexa. I used to use Alexa with it. I haven't hooked that up in a while. I should go back to it.
Alexa?
Yeah, like to automate tasks on the tank. I used to use
Yeah.
it. I was like
I
hardcore
used
for
to
a
use
year
it
or
a
two.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. I need to go back to
What do you gotta go back to?
getting a button.
A button?
Yeah. Getting a
That-
button for some things.
That is honestly what when I get the MXM modules is going to be the main thing I'm going to do with it. And I think it's going to be super useful. Because you can just walk up, right now I open the app, even for Fusion. Like I open it, I hit feed mode in Fusion, and it's not a big deal. But, there's a button for feed mode, button for this. I have this lovely hole right there, which I'm going to 3D print a little panel. I already ordered some buttons off. Yeah, like express little light up buttons. So I'm going to make little buttons for it. I think it's going to be good. It's already in the plans. I just need the MXM module to do it all. And it's
One thing I copied from you. So I think the last time we spoke in detail about equipment, I dose in calc just as much as you were, but I had a set amount of dose. Like it was dosing like I was dosing a liquid. I think I set it to slow drip like what you're doing, and I think it's fine. Like I just say, hey, like drip 2 liters. So the verse is now spinning slow and just dripping over the course of the day, which I think is fine. I don't know why I was shying away from that at first.
That's what I do for calc. It's a 24/7 drip. It's just a constant slow drip. I find it keeps things more stable. Yeah. Apparently, we're setting off a bunch of the who shall not be named.
Oh, wow. I don't know. This is wow.
I had a bazillion comments for that when I originally did my video on controlling the apex with the who shall not be named, which made me laugh. I read all those comments, so yep.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Good little voice automation.
All right.
Can you ask him about calc stores and continuous duty dosing pumps? I sure can ask him. So I'll give you my quick rundown. I'm using the VAS K2, which I quite like. I think it works well. And I am using a Versa to feed it. And I've been doing that for quite a while now. It works really well.
I am using... You're using K2. So I'm using the Avast Marine. So I have 2. I have the original. And then to get the calc a little bit more potent, I had them make a smaller one. It's the same reactor, just cut
Shorter?
6 inches shorter. So the calc is more potent when it doses. And that's it. That's what I like, that it's not under pressure and it's gravity. And you have to mess with other things. I sit in the sump and then remove a lot of the plumbing and it just drips. And I think it's been working. I don't know why I would use any other reactor.
Yeah,
and then also with the Versa, like you can use any dosing pump. So I have it pulling from my ATO container and just dripping, but you can use any dosing pump but a Versa. And what I've learned is, so initially when I had Versas, I had issues with them where I had to replace the tubing so often when I was feeding with a calcium reactor. But when you're dosing 2-part or even just clear liquid, man, I haven't changed the tubing in like 2 years. That thing lasts so long.
This is true. Now, ironically, so this is interesting. What I've noticed with the Versa tubing, dosing lasts ages. Feeding RODI to the tank lasts ages. But the calcium reactor one, that one for whatever reason, I mean, that again, it's spinning at 70, 80 mils a minute, 24/7. But that one I got to replace like every like 4 months. Where most of the other ones they last a bazillion years. Like they last a long time. But it's probably because I'm doing such high speed, 24/7. Where that one's I'm spinning a lot slower. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
But
I've said that to, I've said that to Jay, and I don't think, I've seen a video where it was quite explained, not explained, but just having the conversation that it's a consumable. I don't think it
yeah,
was, I haven't seen one.
it is.
Maybe I
But
just missed it.
but
But
even
yeah, I understand that now because it just gets gunked up. Like I don't know why like I don't know why I expected it to last forever. It
yeah.
doesn't. It's a consumable. Like if you're using any pump and you're pulling from a sump with all
Yep.
that bacteria in it, yes. Yep.
Yeah, like the Comore, what's the X one? I don't know. Whatever the original continuous duty
X1
Comore is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, not
that
the FXXCP.
FXXDP, thank you. That's the one. I used to use that actually. I used that before I had the Versa, but then I swapped to Versa because it was quieter. But even on that one, it was still every 4 or 5 months I'd change it, right? It was still on the calcium reactor. Other stuff lasts longer, but calcium reactor, I think it's just the higher speed 24/7. And I find it needs a little more.
You think it's a speed? I think it's just the bacteria because when
It
you
could
look
be.
in it, it looks so nasty in it,
Yeah.
and so it's just the bacteria and all the biology that happens, and maybe a combination of both.
Yeah.
Saltwater is not easy. I mean, I think our equipment has gotten so much better that we take it for granted that this is saltwater with living organisms and bacteria that's constantly attacking everything we put in there.
hmm Yeah, it's definitely harder on stuff. And I mean, the more you're pumping through it, the more contact time it has, right? So good for thought. Soda ash for the win. Yeah, dosing would be very expensive if I only dosed. On my big tank, I have a calcium reactor running, I don't know if it's like 70 or 80 mils a minute, plus doing like 6,000 mils of calc, plus I'm dosing like 80 to 110 mils a day on top of that. Like, if I just dosed, it'd be like insane amounts. Like this tank, I'm just
Yeah.
dosing, but it's only like, it's not very much because there's not a ton of sticks in here yet. Like, so, and this one, I actually use 5 gallon. This is like lazy reefer style, but I got a bunch of 5 gallon ATO containers, which are my dosing containers. I have 5 gallons of each supplement, which lasts ages, which is great. And then,
And if you're using something like just soda ash, which is in the realm of 2 parts, not that potent, versus using something that's lye based, like let's say Triton, you could be dosing a lot of it. Like I saw Keith Burkle, like Reef Bum,
yeah,
when he transitioned his tank, like that dude was dosing like so much 2 part per day. Like it was in the hundreds of mils per day before he went on a I think he was trying
Dude,
to, because of
I
pH issues.
Yeah.
He was trying to. I think he was dosing like a few hundred mils. Like no, it's like it's ridiculous. He was making that thing by the 5 gallon bucket. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
mixing up 2 part.
yeah, like if I just think I'm dosing like roughly 100 mils on top of all my other stuff, it's like the Trident, like the one thing I'll say with that, I did get a dose and doing the Trident control dosing. I'm just letting it tweak things on top of my other stuff. So the calc and the calcium reactor are like my main supplement, and I just use dosing to let it tweak it above it, which works pretty
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah, I'm still like nervous about that. I'm still nervous.
well, here's the thing: if I'm taking care of 80% of the load through other methods, if something buggered up, it can only bugger up by 20%.
Right.
It's a funny way of thinking of it, but it's true, right? Like it's been
I hear
good,
you.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it depends. I mean, if you're buying like raw, nasty industrial stuff, you can do it for dirt cheap. But if you're getting like the fancier dosing, it gets expensive. And the other thing I will say about that, with like lots of people love to use like the super cheap, bulk and stuff, which I did for years too. But it definitely has impurities in it. And if you do water changes, the impurities are probably less of an issue. If you never do a water change, eventually I think they'll catch up to you. So that's kind of my
Yes.
thoughts on a lot of the cheaper methods of things. So
Yes. Even though my tank is doing well, I'm still sticking to the doing the water change every month because I just don't. I think I'm trying to preempt. Not that I'm using anything I don't trust, but I'm trying to preempt what you just mentioned, where maybe there's something happening, and just doing a once a month water change will just help
Yeah.
keep that thing in balance.
Every few months, I lie. I've done it like once or twice in the last year. But I think like every 4 or 5 months, I'm gonna do like a big sand bed vacuum / water change just for like good measure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
In the winter, in our months, in the winter month where we have the heat on, I tend to try to keep my calc dose enough where it's consistent in the summer and winter.
mhm.
But in the winter, because the air is dry, because we have our heater on,
Yeah.
we have the ability to dose a ton of calc in the winter.
Bonus. See,
Yeah. But
it's more humid outside now, so it's just like,
really?
oh yeah, it's
Yeah, it
like,
is more humid, but it's dry inside because we have the indoor heaters
okay,
that are
fair.
drying the air. So yeah, you can do a ton. I get a ton more evaporation in the winter than I do in the summer.
Okay. Okay, so it's 68% relative humidity outside right now, and inside my house is about 47. So it's a good
Yeah,
chunk.
we get a lot more,
Thanks,
at least in
dedicated.
New York City. That's something I think I always mention it when I'm here is, man, pH issues, evaporation, kalkwasser, it can vary. Your experience can vary depending on where you are. Because if you're in like Colorado, the air is so dry, you probably get a ton of evap. You can do a ton of kalkwasser. When you're in Florida, you can't have your windows open, so your pH is, probably going to be lower. It just depends on where in the country you are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very true. It makes a big difference. Okay, Phil, Reef Keeper. Soda ash has been causing my return pump and skimmer to stall in the new fry tank, precipitating for some reason. I've heard of that happening, but I've never personally experienced it. So it's interesting when it like builds up and cakes on stuff.
Wow.
I know.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Soda ash has been. I saw him post that on Instagram. Wow. I would really like a follow up eventually, in that if bicarbonate actually makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, blending them is a good idea. Do it 50/50 of carb and bicarb. The thought.
Yep.
Anyone using Tropic Marin Alpha Reef? Did you try that one? I like the idea of it, but I've never tried it just because
I
I have
mean,
big tanks, not small ones.
I
I did a
u- I
nano one too.
use it. Yeah, on small tanks it makes sense. My magnesium went out started drifting high. Not
Hmm.
high where it was dangerous, but it's one of those things where you still have to test. But I used it and it was fine. It's I like you can buy. So the interesting thing is you can also make it yourself,
Hmm.
and you can actually. If I had to do it again, I actually just gave all the chemicals. I had it and I just gave it away to Kells, if you know
Yeah.
Kells. But if I were gonna mix it again, I would actually mix it up myself and put less magnesium. That's what recommended in it because my
Hmm.
magnesium, whenever I was on it, but it works. But there's a
Yeah.
few people who make it now. I think Polyp Lab has something called One.
They've had that
There's
for
a few
ages.
companies. Yeah, there's a few
Yeah.
companies that make the one part.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's, I think on a smaller tank, I think it's a really good way to go because it's just simple. One dosing head, done. I do like that idea. But on a big tank, I know it's definitely a bit trickier. Next time I
Mhm.
set up a nano, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, you should.
One day. One day I'll let you know.
You should. It works.
Yeah.
It's from Tropic Marin, a trusted brand, and I
Yep.
think it works. I still don't understand the science of why it works. I've tried. I've watched Lou do a ton of videos on it, but I know it works.
The weird thing with it is how it like is a delayed reaction. Like you can't even test right away. You got to wait a while. That's the weird part in my mind.
Next
But
day.
yeah.
And there is a limit where so I think, so it got to the point, Dev, when I was on the old Red Sea Reefer 350,
Hmm.
it got to the point where I was at 30, 40, 50 meals a day. Then things, not that it started to get weird, but
Hmm.
I think I couldn't get, so the alkalinity usually, I'm saying, that's a horrible word. I was going to say metastasize, but that's cancer, but it metabolizes
Yeah.
24 hours later. And I think I was dosing too much where it could never metabolize enough to actually get my alk to where it needed to be. So there is a limit where you're dosing too much and it never actually gets the alkalinity to where it needs to be. Or maybe it was and I couldn't test for it, but there is a limit. I think I've seen BRS have it on a 60-gallon like SPS dominant tank where they were dosing 60, 65 mils, but I've never seen someone have it where they're dosing much more than that, like a
Yeah.
60, 75-ish gallon tank.
One of, I don't know if it's Nick, but one of the BRS employees, I know they were dosing like way more than the recommended amount, and it was working well for them. Because I know they said
That's the
like up
tank
to
I'm
a
talking
certain
about.
amount. Okay, yeah. Is it
Yeah.
Nick's or whose is it?
I
Somebody's.
don't remember. It's
Yeah.
that tallish tank with the big Monty in it, and it had the
Yeah.
yeah.
Stay on soda ash for pH benefits. Yeah, I mean pH benefits is nice. I have such a bugger issue with pH in my big tank. Like if I don't have my skimmer on with like the soda ash and stuff, like it's like a noticeable drop. It's crazy. Definitely have that.
So Dev, I will tell you. So
Yes.
when you so Dev, Brandy, and I have like a group text, and today he was asking about skimmers. So man, the Roy, so I have a Bubble King 200, dude.
Yep.
Like I have a half-inch line going outside, and you can see where my tank is to where the so it's going about 5 feet max outside, but no pH issue. Like the calc is taking it to 8.3, 8.4, but there's something with this skimmer where I think this pump on the Royal Exclusive is so good. I'm not having pH issues anymore.
Just
It's
insane
pulling
amounts.
so much air. I think this skimmer is just pulling so much air from outside where
Yeah.
I also I have a refugium, which with low nutrients I probably shouldn't, but I'm determined to try to make a refugium work. I just love refugiums. But I'm not using any. I had a section for like rock, and I took a lot of it out. I had a bunch of biomedia, and I took it out. So I watched an episode of an episode of Reef Therapy where Jake said like having a bunch of rock and stuff sitting there, like the bio, like this material we have. He said that stuff is breathing, so it's using oxygen when your lights aren't on or when anything. So I took a lot of it out.
It's full. Well, actually, so on this whole train of thought, so it is full of bacteria, right? Like that's the whole point of like denitrifying bacteria. But that bacteria also breathes and sucks oxygen and outputs CO2. So if you have too much media, you can potentially have lower pH from that. Now, earlier someone was asking about nitrate on there. Now that's another consideration. If you have really no nitrates and you're trying to bump it, remove some of that media because that's denitrifying bacteria mainly within there, right? So removing that media is going to help naturally raise up your nitrates a bit as well. This is another side thought that just came into my head as you said that.
Yeah, I think I don't have any evidence, and that would be an interesting discussion to see. But man, that was so interesting that he said, you have an overstocked tank, a ton of fish, like. When the lights go off, those things are breathing. They still have to breathe, and they're taking up oxygen. When you have all this biomedia, that's bacteria that still needs to breathe. When you have a bunch of detritus settling everywhere, that's bacteria and funk that's sucking up oxygen as it decomposes slowly over time. So I just, I listened to some of those things when I was setting up the new system. So I don't know if that. I still think the skimmer pump had a lot, most of it, but dude, like by pH now, I've always struggled with 7.8, 7.6 pH, but now, as we get it's 8 p.m. here in New York, and let me log into my hydros. As you hear the sirens in the background, New York City background noise.
You know what's funny that I was actually thinking about today? What's your
pH is 8.32.
Spoiled. Now,
8.32 at this time of night. But my Kalkwasser hasn't even, like it doses more at night versus during the day. I'm like full Kalkwasser. So I'm going to be at probably 8.4 by the time my day starts almost.
So I put an air exchanger in the house a while ago, and one thing is funny. The furnace room is below my office, so I was like, could I run a line down to there and tap into the air exchanger to pull fresh air into my skimmer? I was like,
Did it
this
work?
might be possible. No, I haven't. I was just thinking if it's worth the effort. Because I'm like,
What size tubing? What size tubing do you use? Because sometimes I've seen, and I think I don't know if you did this, but sometimes I've seen. I make it a point to go with 1/2 inch or bigger tubing because
I think I used half, but it might be bigger. It's probably half, but I'm not 100%.
well, if you go bigger, yes. And I also take the silencer off. Ev.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take the silencer off because why do I need the silencer? Like the
You don't.
pull of air is going outside, so I just connect the hose, like the silicone hose, with a 1/2 inch John Guest fitting.
Yeah.
And I go straight outside.
I feel like I used 1/2 inch, but I'm not 100%. But I went up the floor through the attic, and it's like in my attic just below the peak of the roof. But I also have a weird system where I have my thing of soda lime on top, and I'm recirculating it, but I put a T there, so it's like partial outside air, partial soda lime, so it's kind of a blend, and that works really well. But if my skimmer is off, like I see a massive drop in pH. Like it's crazy how much of a difference it makes.
Mine too. So when I've had it before where I've heard people say, "Hey, like, just turn your skimmer off when you have low nutrients." So like, not an option. Not an option. Not an option. When I get people over, my tank is in my living room. People come over, you see it take a nosedive. In the winter, when you have to close the winter, that thing takes a nosedive. So,
I don't know if it's worth it. Maybe I'll try and tap into the fresh air for downstairs from the air exchanger. Be interesting.
Yeah.
See what difference it makes.
And those of us in the cold clients, that's one of the things we have to think about. Where someone who has an air exchanger and is just using AC, or they're in a climate where they don't have to close their windows, that's different. They don't have to think about that. But us, we can't have our window open in the winter in New York or in, where you are. Can't do that.
I know.
It's madness.
Well, here's the other thing I did too now, because like it's drops down below zero, like more freezing at night. So I put a smart plug on it, and I said if it's below zero, then don't turn on. So I'm like, so it's only on when it's +1, right? So it doesn't bring in super cold air. Like it does pre-warm it, but you don't want to go crazy low. Mark, thank you for the super shot. So that's another consideration that I did, just to like, I don't know, make the house more efficient by not making the heater work as much. But
so my apartment is warm in the winter, so I think pulling in the cold air doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. What does matter though is in the summer when it's like when the air temperature is 100 degrees. So I actually had to upgrade my chiller. So now I doubled the capacity, my chilling capacity for those days when it's like the air. So not last year, but the year before, I experienced like a mini crash when my chiller just couldn't keep up because there was a day in New York, like a weekend, when it was almost 90% humidity and about the air temperature was 105. My tank did not do well for those 2 days.
Yeah.
So imagine your chiller inside your apartment fighting that.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Pulling air from outside, so.
Yeah, cooler air raises pH. Really? I don't know. Be interesting. I guess it would make sense. There'd be less humidity and stuff in it.
Don't know.
No, I know. There you go. Something else I want to do today, probably, I don't know, I'll do it in like 20 minutes, but I still have to do the draw for the giveaway for the coral shops in Canada. From the stream I did like no, I'm sorry, you're not in Canada. I know.
I am coming to Canada though. I'm leaving Toronto in December. Does that count?
You should have faked your address and entered after my stream like a month or two ago. Sorry, buddy. But so basically there is let me see if I can find it. Frag Box and the Aquaculture Impact Aquariums are each giving away $50 gift certificate.
I'm gonna stop by Frag Box.
Corals. Yeah, I know.
Cool. I know.
They're pretty cool. I've marched on my stream a few times. I'll probably get them on again soon. It's a cool shop.
Have you ever visited?
Yeah, I've been there. I did a video with them maybe like 4 years ago. Man, it was a while ago when I was there, but
I used to go to Canada a lot, and I didn't know you know, so it started with my company had an office in Toronto, and
Nice.
then we have family there. So I'm in Toronto. Been to Toronto a couple of times. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
think to visit.
More you know.
Definitely
Live
my
and learn.
list. On my list. On my list.
Live and learn. That's good. Yeah, so it's pretty good odds. A lot of people are slackers. I think there's like 40 something that were like the proper entries. So it's pretty good odds because there's like 14, I think, give prizes. So
All right. I'm in.
sweet.
I'm in.
Sweet. Well,
I'm
you're
in.
not in,
So-
but I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Next time.
Someone said just run freaking soda ash so you can eliminate CO2 scrubbers, eliminate lines from the skimmer to your neighbor's house, eliminate the destruction of all your pricey equipment, glass hidden, buried in coralline truss. I mean,
Do you know how much I would have to dose?
that's what I'm saying.
It would be
Like,
insane. I would go through so
Yeah.
much stuff. It'd be
and it still wasn't enough. Like it still wouldn't be enough. Like it's I hear you. I hear you.
know, it's
But the skimmer line is free. You build it once and it's forever.
yeah, that is a good way to go for sure. I think if you can do outside air, like free is a great price. Like once you get over drilling a hole through somewhere in your house to get that line outside in fresh air, like that's honestly the hardest part. Once you have it, it definitely is a solid, constant, ongoing pH bump.
Yeah, it is two. It is, man. I can't even imagine go. I have Triton hooked up, which I like Triton because it's so potent and you're not dosing that much. But man, I can't imagine mixing up soda ash where you have to put it in the bottle and shake it and let it settle. And then,
You spend
you know,
the $25 on the magnetic stir, and then you're good.
yeah.
No one stirs manually. Come on now. You get your
Man.
magnetic, drop into magnetic pill, add your water, and just dump some in, walk around, come back a little later, dump a little more in, come back, it's all clear, refill your containers. It's not bad.
Yeah, I have one. I just haven't used. I bought it to mix up my Alpha Reef actually.
It's right there. It's good. A kitchen
but
scale, a magnetic scale, are your friend for mixing up anything for the reef tank.
But the other thing with the soda ash is not only dosing in a lot, you have to get these gigantic dosing containers.
Yes, you do.
I live in an apartment, man. Cannot.
You know,
Space is a virtue.
I considered putting like a bunch of 5-gallon containers in my water box and just dosing, but then I'm like, I would have to buy so much chemicals to mix up every month. I was like, I'm sticking with what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another one where this is so regional. Remember earlier we've mentioned a few things where we're like some stuff is so regional. Farm frag is like move your sump outside. It's common. Yeah, Devin and I can't. Well, first I'm in an
If you live in
apartment, so there's
California, sure, but
yeah, but if where you are, Dev, what would be happening right about now if your sump was outside?
freaking cold out there now. It's fine in the daytime, but at nighttime it drops down pretty dang cold.
You probably have to run like 2,000 watts of heaters to keep, to fight.
That's a good point.
Not only that, you'd be fighting and it hasn't even gotten to February yet.
No.
So you'd be fighting the entire Arctic winter. You probably need like 2,000 to 3,000 wattage of heaters to at least prevent the tank from freezing.
Yeah, that'd be very expensive in heating. That's a very, very, very good point that I didn't consider. But yeah, you'd be spending a fortune on heating because it would cool down your whole tank.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not even at the point where I'm like keep it at a healthy temperature. I'm like just preventing the water from freezing.
Now, would you trust your sump on your balcony in New York City in an apartment?
Not what we just mentioned. No. In February when it's 0 degrees, no.
Exactly. So I mean, I know farm frags. I'm pretty sure you're in California. I remember Terrence had his underneath his house, which is California. Like, it really depends where you live. And if it's, mild all year round, that's a great option. But if you get crazy hot or cold, then yeah, not going to work as well.
Yeah.
Lobster tank.
True.
I mean, yeah, there you go. Is there more CO2 in the winter? Seasons are changing. Outside CO2 is pretty dang consistent. I feel like it's like 380 to 400, something like that, roughly. 350 to 400, somewhere in that range. Every time at least where I am. I'm pretty sure it's fairly consistent in most places. So, which is much lower than your house. Most houses, 800, 1,000 plus. So it's definitely, you got to think, as you're pulling in air mixed with your tank, as your wave makers are creating all that surface tension and all the waves, that's creating gas exchange. And if you have higher CO2 in your house from people breathing, pets, windows closed, company over, all that jazz, as you're getting the gas exchange, that higher CO2 air is going into the tank. And we have lots of surface agitation. We have all this stuff and all this flow in reef tanks. Like if you look at some of the planted tank guys, they inject CO2 into the tank and they try and keep the top of the water still so they don't lose as much CO2. So it just shows like how much that gas exchange plays into it.
Yeah, I think we get way more gas exchange at the skimmer. But if your skimmer is pulling inside air and it's high CO2, you're just pulling more high CO2 air into the water anyway. So,
yep.
Yeah.
I know. So there's options. But what's your O2 ppm? I don't know offhand. I'll check later. I gotta find my little gauge. I'll plug it back in and see what it says. I did add one to the tank, and it generally is like 800 or 900 on average. I
think I ordered something from Harry with the hydros to hook it up and never actually hooked it up. I don't remember.
Oh, for CO2?
Yeah, because it has the CO2 input. So I did think I did CO2. Nice. And something else, another sensor. Because with hydros, with the 0 to 10 input, you can actually input certain things. I think you can do it with the Apex too. You've done it with.
Yeah, you need to buy an ASM module,
which comes
with the par kit, or you have to bug them to buy just on its own. It's not as readily available, which is a bit of a pain. But you can bug them directly and buy it, or if you have the par kit, you can repurpose it. Yep.
And I think you have to ask. I think they'll ask some questions about what you're going to do with it. But
they did actually.
Well, I think that was back then. I think things might be different now.
No, they still asked me what I was going to do with it. I'm like, I'm doing this. They're like, just so you know, it's not supported if you break it. Da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm like, I don't care. I know what I'm doing. I'm not worried about it. So, But yeah, they totally did.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard when you're Daily Reefing, who doesn't make videos anymore, but when he wanted to try it with something, he got the same. He had to tell them. They wanted to know what he could do with it.
Daily Reefing. I haven't talked to Jeff in ages. I should have him on one day. He moved and he built a new, bigger tank. I wonder how it's coming.
Yeah, I remember the last time we were talking. Last time I saw him, he was, the last video was a year ago when he was still quarantining stuff. When he had moved and quarantining stuff in the. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
1 year ago is the last time he made a video with the copper band.
A few months, because he moved, he had a new tank, which I think was bigger. And
definitely bigger.
Yeah, and he was shooting me photos, and I was like giving him tips on like what we should do with aquascaping and stuff. So I gotta bug him now. It's been a while. I'm curious.
Yeah, if you find out what's happening, tell him we are anxiously waiting to see what is happening.
I'm gonna lure him onto a future live stream.
Yeah, you should. We definitely want to know. Before he comes on the live stream, tell him to publish something so we'll know what question to ask.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, he always does crazy stuff. I like it. Me and him are very similar on like the crazy, probably over the top, random stuff we come up with and build and do, which is great. Which I love it.
Definitely interested in what he is doing.
Yep.
So, yep.
All right. I think we should do a giveaway.
I think so too, man. I'm going to enter.
Okay. So I guess here's the first question. Do we do it Wheel of Death style where it's like last one standing, or do we just randomly pull names and pick prizes? What do you think?
Ooh, how many prizes? Let's do the duck. I like the duck race. No?
The Wheel of Death?
No. The Wheel of Death. Let's do pick the winner.
Okay, so we'll do wheel. Okay, I got to figure out how many there is, because there is. Now, just so you guys know, I'm sorry you can't enter it now. This was like a live stream like 2 months ago about giving away. We talked about importing coral and did a bunch of giveaways to enter on that stream. So if you entered then over the last like 2 months, then this is what this draw is for.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. So there is four $50 gift certificates from Frag Garage, which I've had Adam on multiple times. He's been awesome. Impact Aquariums in Kelowna also has four $50 gift certificates. And their New Dawn Aquaculture, also four $50 gift certificates from them, as well as two different pretty dang sweet, amazing torch corals. So it's a pretty sweet
So
prizes.
how many prices total?
4, 8, 12, 13, 14.
What? Okay, let's do it, man.
I know.
Let's do it.
I'm copy and pasting names from spreadsheets. I just took out people's last names because for whatever reason, I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't publicly put last names up. So it's just last initial. And then I have my spreadsheet, everyone that entered.
I have a Toronto address. 1 Eaton Center, Toronto, Canada.
Now, of all the valid ones, now unfortunately this one's only a Canadian one because all these frag shops you can't really ship cross-border, and these are all Canadian peeps. Please tell me I entered this. Let me look, Mark. Are you on the list? How do you not remember if you entered it? I don't think you did.
This is Canada only.
Yeah, because this is coral, right? It's live coral borders. Yeah. These are all Canadian shops. So
who's Niagara Fire Coral? Sorry, you're not in Niagara.
I don't know. What's your real name? I think you are in here though.
Yeah, but isn't Niagara a U.S. side?
No,
US?
There's U.S. and Canada. Depends what side of the border. I know, that's funny.
Canadian side is way more developed than the U.S. side, by the way. There's casinos. The U.S. side just has a gift shop. So America.
That's it?
Yeah.
It always messes me why you have two Washingtons, too.
It was Washington and Washington, D.C., Dev. Come on.
I know, but why? Like, just pick up a new name. Anyways, beside the point. Okay.
Let's not go there.
Wait, reset. Didn't mean to push that yet. Okay, so we have... Okay, I gotta do some math here. So, of all the people that found the code on the page and all the legit stuff, there was 43 people... And there is 14 prizes, which is pretty dang good odds for the people that took the 20 minutes to enter. So that means...
Can one person win multiple prizes? Yes. But you reserve the right, if someone keeps winning, to remove them from the list.
I don't know. Do we want to do that, or should we just do... I kind of think that each person gets one prize, and then... We'll leave the two sweetest prizes for the last two people. So the first...
Okay.
So
okay. All right.
I'm mathing here. So
I like it.
So this means we got to do 29 people need to get voted off the island, and the remaining 14 are the ones that get prizes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Okay, I think I mathed right. And if I messed up the math, then we will have a bonus draw.
You're Canadian. We'll forgive you.
You're so kind. Okay, sorry, you're being replaced by the wheel. Sorry, buddy. Okay. Done, done, done. Once I figure out how to fit this on here. Yeah, shrink it. Make it bigger. Almost there. Okay, so this is... Here, can I fit you both on?
Hey,
here.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh!
Hey!
Oh!
If you move to the left, I can squeeze you both in. There we go. Okay. All right. Wheeldecide.com. Let's do this. Let's fit it in there. Okay. Click to spin. So we're gonna... Okay. So whoever the first handful of people are, I'm sorry you're voted off the island, but we're going to do elimination style. And how many did I say? 29 we have to vote off before the prizes? 29. Okay. So we got to count. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, sorry. Lost me for a minute. I was watching YouTube. I didn't realize how far YouTube is behind.
I apologize if this is loud. Sorry, Kathy. Okay, so that's one. Okay. Can you count?
Yes, one.
Okay, one.
I think so.
Okay,
one.
Okay, number 2 to get voted off the island. Sorry, Kyle, for 2. Dun, 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 dun. All right, Nico for 3. Yeah, it is loud. Can I turn this down somehow? I think I
don't
can.
hear anything. Oh,
No, you can't, but I can. I think I can turn down just Chrome. Let me try this. There we go. That's better.
Byron is the fourth person voted
Yep.
off. All right.
Okay, for 4. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's loud. 4. Okay, I muted Chrome. We're safe. Okay, Nigel for 5. Sorry. Dun dun dun. Oh, Brett for how many? 6?
6.
Farewell, Brett. Dun dun dun. I do love the Wheel of Death. It's great. Oh, Shaylee for 7. Farewell, Shaylee. Good effort.
Actually,
good effort.
man, the duck is better, but the duck is more fun. But that's only if you do one.
I know. Alex with the Gmail address, since there's 2 Alexes for,
All
was
right.
it 7?
Hmm?
Is it
No,
7?
that's 8. Alex
8?
is 8.
Okay, thank you. 8.
Yep, I'm writing down the names if I can too.
Dun,
So
dun, dun, dun.
Nicholas M is 9.
Nicholas M is 9. Dun dun dun. Oh, Dylan O for 10. Okay, we're a third of the way of the eliminations. Marcus for 11. Dun dun dun. Bye, Marcus. I'm sorry, buddy. Farewell, Alex Live.
Both Alexes.
Yep.
Now comes number 13.
Beautiful. Oh, Amy. Farewell, Amy. It was a good effort. Good effort. Dun
Number
dun dun.
14.
Oh, Sean. Farewell, Sean. The funny thing is, once we get down to the end, it's like win, 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 win. It's like, you're in the gravy.
Number 15, Brent. Is
Farewell,
that Brent?
Brent. Yep, that was Brent.
All right.
Good try,
Number
Brent.
16.
Dun dun dun. Oh, Jordan.
Jordan.
Good effort, Jordan.
Number 17.
Steven.
Steven Ziem.
Farewell, Steven. Dun dun dun. I love the Wheel of Death. It's so good.
18.
Yep. Oh, Brandy.
Brady.
Farewell, Brandy.
Oh, Brandy or Brady?
Either way, they're gone. Brandy, Brady, I'm sorry, but you're gone. Daraj?
Yep.
Farewell, Daraj.
Number 19. Number 20
19.
now.
Okay, so it's 20. Trent
Trent.
B. Farewell, Trent. Dun 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 dun.
2-1.
We got Marina G. Farewell, Marina. Dun dun dun.
Christopher L.
Farewell, Christopher.
23.
23. Thank you for keeping count. Luke.
Luke.
Farewell, Luke. Dun, 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 dun. Don't make my own sound effects.
24.
Oh,
Gary.
Gary. Well, there goes Gary. Gary the snail. Okay, what are we at? 25? 26?
25.
25? Dun, 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 dun. Andrew. Oh, sorry, Andrew. I think I know Andrew too, actually. Good try, Andrew.
26.
Okay, now we're at
Elvira.
Good try, Elvira.
All right. Now 27.
27.
How many names before we get to the prizes?
We're just about there. I'm just going to double check. Okay, so we got Mark.
Mark,
Farewell, Mark. So what's your count now?
28. This is
28.
the 28th.
Okay, let me just quickly count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Start again.
Uh,
Wait, start at Eric H1.
okay.
We're at 16.
16. So 2 more names we've got to take off.
All right.
All right. Okay, 2 more. I feel bad for you too. I'm sorry, but Jason. Farewell, Jason.
R. And now I'm number 29.
Okay, so now we should have, I think, 15 names. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's 15 names. So if I am removing a name when it's picked, so I remove one more, and then they are the winners, I believe.
Yes,
Well,
you're in winning round now.
if there's anything left, wait. So is the next spin a winner, or is the one after the winner?
How many prizes do you have?
14.
So wait, Eric H. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay.
No, 15. So
15.
remove one.
One more.
And then-
Okay. And then everyone else after this is a winner. So you got pretty dang good, amazing odds. All right,
Byron R.
Fair and R. All right. So we're down to Andrew, Brandon, Ekobal, Brian, Peter, Ward, Patrick, Eric, Sean, Nita, Crystal, Kyle, Stephanie, Sindad. You guys are all technically winners now. So
All right. So let me write them down.
congratulations, because you're already going to win something sweet. So what should we start with? Should we start with New Dawn Aquaria, Aquaculture, Impact, or Fry Garage?
I leave it up to you. Frag Garage.
Fry Garage? Okay.
Yeah.
So first one here, I'm just going to color code these so I can highlight the proper winners. Okay, so yellow can be Fry Garage. Okay, so first one to go is going to win $50 from Fry Garage. Dun dun dun. Patrick W. Nice work, Patrick. Okay, Patrick, I'm highlighting you as winner for Fry Garage, $50. Congratulations. And if you're in the chat, let me know, because it's even more fun. All right, so remove. Okay, so next one is another. Wait, should we do all Fry Garage and then all Impact and then do Dawn, or just rotate through them?
Whichever.
Yeah, we'll do all four for Fry Garage. Okay.
All right.
Okay, next one, Fry Garage. Stephanie. All right, Stephanie, congratulations. Dun, dun, dun. Let me find you in the list. Stephanie, there you are. Hey, she's local. Nice work. Patrick is in Ontario. Stephanie is in Kelowna.
What? You got reefers in Kelowna? I thought they were a dying breed up there.
Not just me, buddy. Not just me.
All right.
All right. Okay, so we got there. My wheel sounds.
I got it.
Shan. Congratulations, Shan.
I was at a conference, a work conference a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, and there was a company that is based up where you are, and all the stories you've told me about Kelowna with snowboarding, I was made it sound like I was like, nope, never been there. The guys looked at me like I was nuts.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it.
Oh man.
You're like, I know so much about it.
Yeah, I'm telling them about snowboarding and all that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Love it. Hey, I had a little wax party with my buddy the other day. Wax up the snowboards, getting ready for it. It opens, I think tomorrow's the opening day, so maybe this weekend I'll go. Okay, congrats, Shan. $50 from Fry Garage. All right, next one, Fry Garage. Dun, dun, dun. I should have pulled Adam on the stream since he's from Fry Garage. Brian. Nice work, Brian.
Yeah, Brian. He would have been a way better guest than I was. So
you're a wonderful guest. Where's Brian? Brian. Why can't I find Brian? You must exist. I copy pasted the list. Brian, here you go. Brian is from Kelowna. Nice.
What? No, man. It's like a whole collective. The Kelowna Reefers Association, the KFA.
This means locals watched my stream. All right. Congrats, Brian. All right, so next we'll do Impact Aquariums. Ironically, also owned by another Adam. Okay, so this is for $50 for Impact Aquariums. And this is going to Brian.
Wait, wasn't it Brian that won the last one?
Wait a minute here. Is there more than one Brian? Or just one? B-R-I-A-N.
Did you not use Brian?
It's possible. That
was Brian N. Last one was Brian N. Who's this winner?
They're both Brian N. Okay. Wait a minute. Did I not hit remove? Okay, you already won, Brian. I'm sorry. There may be an extra draw in the end.
All right.
Okay. Maybe I hit OK instead of remove.
Okay. So here is Crystal G.
Crystal G. Crystal, congrats, Crystal.
Where's Crystal?
Crystal is from Vernon. Nice.
Where's Vernon? Is it out there too?
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes away.
What?
Nicely done. I feel like there may be like a consolation prize for the last one if we end up with one extra name if I didn't do it.
All right.
Okay, so that's for impact. Brrr. No, not a purring cat. This is the wheel spin because it was way too loud, so I muted it. Oh, Kyle. Kyle.
Do you know Kyle?
I'm pretty sure Kyle says in the chat. Nice. Kyle is in the chat, I'm pretty sure. From Winfield, also close to Kelowna. So you are localish. Nice. Congrats, Kyle. Nicely done. $50 to impact, and you can even drive to that one. And Andrew R.
Andrew R.
Nicely done, Andrew. Andrew is from Saskatoon. Oh, wait, that's Andrew B. Andrew R. Andrew R. Victoria. Nicely done, Andrew.
Where's Victoria?
Victoria is 4 or 5 hours away. It's an island. It's actually really nice there.
Man, I think there is a conspiracy.
Why?
West Coast Canada is winning everything.
Well, there's lots of East Coast on here.
There's
some
one
Torontos.
Toronto. Toronto's won so far.
Okay, we'll look at the end. There's Ontario and some other places. Okay, so
All
we
right.
did 1, 2, 3. So we got one more for impact. Dun. Reef or snowboarding trip. Heck yeah, I'd be all over that. Nita H. Nicely done, Nita H. From Vernon. Oh, you're pretty local too. Nice.
See?
Well, I did post this live stream to some of the local Facebook groups, so
All right.
probably helped. Nicely done. So that is Impact Aquariums done. Now we got New Dawn Aquaculture, and we will give you, let's go for green to highlight those names. So New Dawn, and New Dawn I believe is also the one that's going to be shipping out the torches, which for the final. Where's Adam Fry Garage? Adam Fry Garage is on the island. I think he's Victoria or somewhere around there. So I would love to go see his shop set up one day. Has some wicked stuff. He actually posted a video not too long ago going through it all, and it was super cool to see it. Okay, so now this is going to be for New Dawn Aquaculture. $50. Dun dun dun. Hey, Peter, who's in the chat. Nicely done, Peter T. Nicely done. Peter T. Is that you in the chat? Is it? Hopefully. Peter T.
Yeah, I'm representing the Leafs here. He's
Heck
from
yeah.
Toronto.
I'm trying to find him. He's in my list somewhere.
I might go to a Leafs game when I'm there.
You should. Be fun. Peter T. from Ontario. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. He's in the chat. I'm wearing my Rangers jersey to that game, Peter.
Heck yeah. Congrats, Peter. It's way more fun when you're in the chat. Nicely done, buddy. You got $50 gift certificate. We're getting down to the wire here. Dun, dun, dun.
All right. So now we have
Equiball. I'm probably saying your name wrong. I apologize. A. And you are from... Where are you in the spreadsheet? I don't know. I can't find you. I should have sorted this alphabetically. Would have made my life easier. There you are. You are from Fort McMurray. You're way up there. It's cold up there. It's a good thing you got some cold to warm you up. Congratulations. All right, so we got 1, 2. So we got 2 more.
Ooh.
For NDA. Then we got the grand prize torches.
Ooh.
Braden C. Or Braden. Nice work, Braden. Braden C. Braden C from Burnaby. So you're in Vancouver. Very nice.
Ooh. See? Man.
Dude, there is a lot of West Coast.
See? You said you posted it to the local forums, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, there's Kelowna forums, reefing forums?
Yeah,
Man,
there's a local group. Come on now.
What?
Ward S. Nicely done. You got the next one, and you are from Saskatoon. Representing Saskatoon. Nice. So now there's only 2 names left, so I guess they are basically instant winners. So we have Eric H. and Sinbad. Sinid
Sally.
Nicely done, Sinid.
So they've won torches?
They got the torches.
What? Is Eric in the chat?
Okay, so torch corals. So we have Eric H. Eric H. Eric H. Where are you, Eric H? Eric H from Alberta. Nice.
Oh,
And
where's Alberta?
it is the next province over.
Okay.
It is a good time for Black Friday. You can cash in on all those. It'll be good. And then Eric, who else win? Sinbad. Where are you located? Sinbad.
So you know how you make it up to us Americans. You have a
A
American.
contest for. You know, ironic. Most of my contests are more Americans. This is like the first one that's been straight up Canadian. But no, I will 100% do more.
Yes. We're going to hold him to that.
And he's Ontario, London. Nicely done. Congrats, guys.
All right.
So hopefully you guys are watching. If anyone is watching, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. Take your pick. Or the website. I don't really care. In the contact form, take your pick. Reach out to me with all your address and all your jazz, and I will hook you up and get that all figured out how I get you that information with the relevant stores for your prize. So congratulations, guys. That's pretty awesome. Let me save as my spreadsheet of winners. And
you know what, Dev? You should record this.
It is recorded. It's a live stream.
I know.
It's almost like there's evidence of the wheel of death.
I know, right?
I know. Coral giveaway. All right, guys.
My gosh, Black Friday. And let's end with: are you buying anything for Black Friday?
I don't know. I have been toying with the idea of buying a skimmer. I don't need a skimmer. I have an awesome skimmer. But I'm like, is there a quieter skimmer? Should I try a fancy skimmer? It's like all these stupid rabbit holes. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if there's a sweet sale to suck me in or not.
If there is a sale, I think I would do a controller board.
Ooh, nice. Solid choice. Would you, the one of the adaptive reef ones, or what would you do?
I think one of the adaptive reef ones. I think my tank, from what I've done in the corner here, it no longer is wide enough to fit. But I think I can get some of the PVC and get someone to make like a skinnier version for me.
It could be good. Nice.
I got like 7 Ecotech controllers to mount.
7, that's a good chunk.
Yeah, return
More
pump
than me.
1, return pump, Vectra return pump, Vectra skimmer pump, which is another return pump.
Yeah.
2 MP40s, 2 MP60s. Wait, that's 6 already. And then I'm probably going to put an MP40 in the middle back to push forward. So yes, 7.
Yeah. What if you got an adaptive reef one and just cut it shorter and re-screwed the side on? Because it's PVC, it has pretty mounting holes. It's a thought.
I know.
Find someone at the table saw, go bzip, and then take the side off and then re-put it back on, and then you'd have a mini version.
I could probably get the guy from my LFS to do that. That's a good point. Let me look at the measurements and see how much I would need to cut off.
It's made to fit in the sand of like a Red Sea or a water box, like the common like cabinet size. That's how he designed it, so it may fit. Never know.
I'll think about it. I will think about that.
Yeah, that's what I would personally do. I mean, you could make it. That PVC board is freaking expensive though. Like that stuff is not cheap. So if you're gonna DIY it, like I'd probably use wood or something else. But yeah, the other stuff is up there.
It's called PVC board.
Yeah. Or
and
expanded
then he's
PVC
using
boards.
half
Like
inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's using half-inch, which is not cheap because you can get it's just like acrylic. Like really thin acrylic is cheap, but like
thick
really
is pricey.
Good, yes.
Yeah.
Plus shipping it to you.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like when you look at some of the controller boards, like it seems a bit expensive at first, but then when you look at the cost of materials, try and build one, you'd spend more on the raw materials than buying one because they get the discounts buying it in bulk, right? So considerations, and then it's like pristine perfect versus hacking it together, unless you're good at woodworking.
That is true.
But
and have the tools.
Yeah. It is cool from the perspective that you can use it like wood. You can sand it, you can drill it, screw into it. Like it's very wood-like, but it's waterproof, and you don't have to worry about it like swelling or bowing or any other type of stuff. So it's cool. I like that material.
And it's ridiculously strong
Oh
because
yeah,
because I've seen someone put like a DDR with full liquids on it, and it
yep,
stayed there.
yeah, yeah. No, they actually
Because
have a
they do
shelf for
make
that, I
they
think.
do. Yeah, they have a shelf for it. Yeah, he
Yep.
bought the shelf, and because yeah, you would think because it's so light. I equated to being light to being weak. No,
Yeah. No,
so yep,
exactly.
I'm
Uh,
interested. So that would be my probably Black Friday purchase.
no, that could be good. Yep. Yeah, I don't have a cabinet on my skimmer. It's like literally like 5, 6 feet away from me. I mean, I could always put doors on. I debated putting like PVC panels on the side of the thing.
I
We'll
have
see.
not put I have not put doors on my thing yet, and I don't know, I'm loving it with open. Like I think it's forcing me to keep my wires a little neater.
Yep.
I do need to hide some wires on the peninsula side, but I don't know. I like sitting here in the night and seeing the green refugium because I went with the AI Prime. By
Nice.
the way, I don't know if you have any more light shapers. I might have to contact you on the back end. I might need a couple of those.
It's doable.
Um, but I like sitting there and watching the green. There's like a pristine green hum of
Hmm.
watching like the refugium. So
Yeah, it's kind of fun. There's in other semi exciting news, I got a I picked up a 3D printer off Facebook Marketplace, like a bigger one, because I got some cool projects I've been working on, but they were too big for my print bed, so I'm just still trying to dial it in. But I got a nice big beastie one to do some prototyping with, which should be fun. Got
all
some good
right,
ideas. You'll like them later. I'll spill the beans once I perfect it more.
all right, sounds good
Yeah,
to me.
be good. All right, guys, what do you think? It's been almost pushing an hour and a half plus, so I think we should wrap her up pretty soon.
All right,
But congratulations to everybody that won all of the giveaways today. Some pretty sweet prizes. And thank you to Nudon Aquaculture, Fragrage, Fragbox, or sorry, Fragrage Impact Aquariums. Appreciate you guys supporting this. And as well as the torches for all the coral importing stream. Like, super amazing, pretty awesome that he did those giveaways, so definitely appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed it, as always, hit that like button. Oh, thank you for joining me today. Always good to
no
have you on,
problem.
buddy.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Always a pleasure, man. Always have fun.
Always,
You have a good
always.
night.
You too. Thanks.